Yes, please. Thank you very much. So I'm apparently live. I don't know at what point it starts capturing what I'm saying, so you'll probably hear this beginning part of me talking to myself at the computer, trying to figure out tech crap. I'm sorry I'm so late, but this has been the month of tech woes, so I should also probably hello. My God. Hello. I right now am pretending to say hi to you, but mostly checking to see is my camera lined up, because I am late today and did not have time for that. Okay, just gonna wing it. Yeah, I'm just gonna wing it. Okay. Probably. Hello. Sorry, I'm a bit of a mess today. But we can get started. I am Willow. I'm having a really bad month with computer stuff. Like, literally last week my whole system just crashed. I had to get a whole new one, and then none of the, the new, when you get a new computer, none of the ports fit in the older ports. So you gotta get all these new cords and stuff. It's a whole thing. And I was having some tech woes getting on here, but anyway, I'm here now, and now it says no data, so that's great, except that it's not great. Oh boy. No data? What are you talking about? Excellent connection or no data. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. Gonna just teach this class, and if the camera goes away, then whatever. One sec, y'all. Okay, let's pretend the last 3 minutes did not happen and that you did not get whatever impression it was of me that you got. Okay, let me start from the beginning. My name is Willow. I run Naked in Motion. What is Naked in Motion? In the before times, we taught naked yoga and Pilates classes in New York City and Boston. We had them in Seattle, and then the pandemic happened. And this is my second year doing an anniversary class online. So this is our 6-year anniversary today, on this very day. As a matter of fact, at this very moment, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, on January 27th, it was a Wednesday. In 2016, 6 years ago, Naked in Motion had its very first naked yoga class. And if anyone's watching who was there at our very first class, thanks for sticking by. I feel like the beginning of this live stream is a really accurate reflection of where we're at right now, which is kind of like an unpredictable mess, which is what the world is like right now. And I'm gonna do the best I can to guide us through some yoga asana meditation and stuff. And I'm gonna try not to worry about whether or not the live stream crashes, but just so you know, we do have the word naked in the title, and sometimes the YouTube bots get very upset about that and they shut the whole thing down. So that's a possibility. Other tech woes could happen. So I hope that I am here with you for the next 75 minutes. I really hope that we're gonna have this class. It's an open level class, so about 75 minutes of movement. I'll cue a lot of different options, things you might have with you, a chair, blocks, a mat. It's called Not Naked because I am not naked. I am wearing clothes to make this more easily accessible, to make it free on YouTube, that you can wear whatever you want. If you're practicing from your own space, feel free to wear no clothes or clothes. And, practicing yoga in the nude does not make one more evolved or cool. It's just a thing to do. So no judgments from me. If you want to practice in your clothes, that's still great. I promise I'm a good teacher. When I'm done having a technological meltdown and we actually get into the class, I swear I know what I'm doing in just that one arena. Everything else, I'm just making it up as I go and I have no idea. But when it comes to teaching, I swear I do know how to do that, and I am confident. But first I gotta get through a couple of these bits of paperwork. So especially if you have any injuries, please prioritize the advice of your physicians and therapists over mine. So you can alter or skip any of these postures in any way you know you need to or have been advised to. Skip things, take breaks. You can also make things more challenging if you want. I'm not a dictator, I'm just a guide, so I'll just offer some stuff, but there really is no right or wrong. In Pilates, we always say, like, when in doubt, leave it out. So if something hurts, for example, that's a good moment to stop. So I know just a little bit of sign language, and I normally have a bit more signs going on before, but my brain is not there right now. It's catching up. So I am not fluent in ASL, but I will sign little things here or there. The most important things that I think are relevant, so how many breaths we're going to stay in a spot, we'll be in a pose, we're going to stay for 3 breaths, 3 times kind of a thing, or if you want a little bit more of something, or if this hurts, something like that. So you'll see me do all kinds of stuff with my hands, and that's what it is. It's just American Sign Language. I'm almost positive it's American Sign Language. There are times where sometimes I say really weird stuff and it is not that, but I'll do my best. Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat. If you're wondering why my background looks so strange, normally I have a blue background so that I don't blend into this very white wall, but it's being used elsewhere, and that's just what it's like. So I do want to take, there's going to be a little bit more time before the movement part that I'll take to just briefly address what we're doing, where we're going. As our anniversary class, it's usually, the first 4 years were big special events. There was live music, and there was song, and there was snacks, and it was just a great time. But I still want to use this mile marker as an opportunity to check in with the larger, world, since this is YouTube and anyone can watch this. So you can learn more about our mission and all of the stuff that we are about on our website, nakedemotion.com. Throughout the pandemic, I've only been teaching naked yoga classes, live streamed, private lessons, video tutorials, etc. I've been doing that online at our Patreon page. The link is in the description. This is patreon.com/nakedemotion. So the mission of Naked Emotion is steadfast. It's still happening. The world is all over the place, and I'm having to really change up my tactics a lot. So whereas before we had in-person classes, now I'm only teaching online. I know, especially if some of you have been to our classes or one of our regulars, I know you want to go back to class. I hear you. Right now, you can check out our pandemic status page on our website. I'll keep that up to date when things change. I would love to get back to in-person classes. Right now, I am only seeing in-person private clients in Seattle. Only private clients in Seattle, in person, with masks and vaccination checks, all that kind of stuff. That's all I personally feel comfortable with. And it's just, I know that you may see other yoga studios opening up and having classes and rejoining the world, and at different times, we have these big variant hills that we climb, and then it goes down and things calm down a bit more, and then maybe another one comes. So this sort of very unpredictable world of everybody stay home because we're all of a sudden have record high cases to, oh, maybe we can start going out to dinner now, is not an environment in which I can host classes, because I don't own my own space. So it's a whole big production. I would be renting. I have to set up a lot of things. It takes a lot of work to have our classes going. We've also lost all of our studios on the East Coast. So the studios that we used to use for Boston and New York are no longer. So that would involve, as I explained on our pandemic status page, that would basically be a very big task of setting up again, restarting from scratch in New York and Boston. And I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to do that when we can have just like at least like a solid 6 to 8 months where things don't feel completely like this all the time. I just need a little stability, and then I will get on a plane. I will go to New York. I will go to Boston. I will find a studio. We will start classes. But I just need things to be a little calmer first, because I cannot keep up with in-person stuff. It's just not worth the back and forth. So that's where we're at now. Not a lot has changed since I made the video that is on our pandemic status page. So basically, on the pandemic status page, I think it was, well, whenever I made a status update video where I was basically talking about what we're doing, which is basically what I'm doing now, and that's has not changed. So I am still only operating online. I am still my efforts right now are focused not only on our Patreon page, but also on developing my virtual beginner's guide to naked yoga workshop. It is a virtual self-led version of a 7-day workshop that I built that is based on a live class that I actually taught a while ago in the before times. And the mission there is, well, so essentially the mission of Naked Emotion stands strong, which is I want to help people develop friendlier relationships with themselves, with their bodies, through yoga, asana, and Pilates as movement, using nudity as a tool for self-discovery and self-inquiry. So it was definitely a lot easier to do when I could just be in a room and we could all just be there together. Now I'm having to figure this out online. Unfortunately, with things online, it takes a lot of shooting and editing and copywriting and all kinds of that stuff, which takes a lot of time, and I'm making progress on that. You can sign up. There's a link on our website to sign up for notifications about when our Beginner's Guide workshop comes out, and it will come out, and it's going to come out when it's ready, and that will be when I can. And that is the way, right now anyway, that I'm going to be able to do the Naked Emotion mission, or carry the Naked Emotion mission. Wait, carry the Naked Emotion mission. Fuck. Whatever. Okay, it's been a really long month. Okay, so I can still work on this mission through our Patreon page. We're still working on naked yoga classes, still experimenting with nudity and body acceptance, things like that. And this beginner's guide is really my next big thing, where I think I'm gonna really be introducing people who never thought they would ever do anything like this, walking them through it, explaining why, explaining the things that are probably gonna be challenging and how we work around them, little baby steps. It's a whole big production, and that is how I think I'm gonna make naked yoga more accessible to all the people instead of just people inside of the nudist bubble. Because everybody could stand to build a friendlier relationship with their bodies in this world of not enoughness. So yeah. So nothing really has changed. Essentially, if you go back to the video that I made, which is the status update, none of that has changed. You may have noticed a tone to my voice as I said that. That tone is communicating impatience. I am working on having patience with myself and waiting for this all to come out as it is ready. It will just take some time. It's been a very, very rough couple of years for Naked Emotion, and I really miss in-person classes. And right now, this is the best I got. So welcome even if you've never taken any of my classes before or any of our live classes or are practicing clothed, welcome. I hope that the point today is to gather and celebrate our anniversary, and also just continue with the mission. It's been such a rough year that earlier today I almost canceled this live stream because I thought I've been thinking all day that there's nothing to celebrate. And so yeah, I think that's a great reflection of like where I'm at. It does feel very frustrating trying to operate usually in-person based services in this pandemic. But I in the spirit of friendliness to oneself and to reassure my community, I'm not giving up. And in truth, we have still done a lot in this past year, in 2021. And I think 2022 will be better. We're just going to keep saying that. Next year will be better. We're just going to keep saying that until finally there is a year that doesn't feel like garbage. Yeah, it was supposed to be 2021 and then just got to try it again. So, yes, it is difficult, but I recognize that I can be pretty hard on myself. We're still accomplishing quite a bit. It's just on a much smaller scale and a lot slower. And I'm still here though. That's the point of this event actually. Whenever I do these annual anniversary events, the point is to sort of join in with the rest of the community and be like, listen, this is what we do, this is what we're about, and whatever is going on currently, we're just recommitting. It's like a I don't know, it's like a renewal of vows or something like that. That's kind of a weird example, but yeah, it's like a renewal each year of like, okay, we're still doing this. And my role is to show up and just let you all know that yes, it is difficult and things are super, super, super weird right now. Like so weird. But I'm still here. I'm recommitting to this mission. Again, year number 6, here we go. Hopefully this year will be a little more interesting and a little more varied. And yeah, I think that's everything. I think I'm done talking like 20 minutes later. So let's actually all just sit down together. So you can just sit. I'm just going to use, this is a chair, as you can see. Option to use blocks if you want to sit down on them on the floor. Option, you can also just lay down on your back if that's more comfortable. And let's begin, mostly for me, but also for you, but mostly for me, y'all. But for us, let's center. Okay, so as you are laying down or sitting down, I invite you to show up in your chair or on your mat or whatever, exactly as you are. Exactly as you are. If you are a hot mess express right now, show of hands. Show up as your hot mess express, right in your chair, just as you are. Feel free to join me. I'm going to take a little look around the room, wherever you are. So you might just take a gentle scan. Look around your space. Orient yourself to it. What do you notice? What shapes or colors are there? Where do you fit in the room? Orient yourself to the space. And then feel free to notice the sensation of your feet on the ground. So how does this feel to have the feet, or wherever your feet are? Maybe if you're lying down, you're noticing your hips. And you may notice the hips onto your chair or the ground too. Whatever is making contact with something below you. And then we'll move on to the breath, but no need to change anything. So simply just notice whatever the breath is doing now. And again, no need to change anything. Maybe you're holding your breath. If you're like me, barely breathing at all. And then if you want, feel free to start to slow down your breath. It doesn't have to be the fullest, biggest breaths of your life, but just experiment. Does it feel good to breathe in a little deeper? To exhale a little more? If it doesn't feel good to do that, don't do it. So if now you started thinking about other things, I'm already thinking about what is in my refrigerator for some reason. That's important to me. So that's okay. Just leave that there. Again, no need to change any of that. Just draw it back in, refocus, noticing the breath. Maybe slow it down a little bit. You might ask yourself where you feel the breath moving in your body. So in the belly, or the chest, or ribs, maybe even the back. And again, by now, maybe you noticed you're thinking about something entirely different. That's okay. That's okay. Bring it on back, refocus. Notice your breath. Where do you feel it? And this might be happening a lot more quickly than I'm discussing it. So maybe this has already happened to you 10 times in the period of the time I've been talking. Again, okay, that's okay. It is there's no way you can fail at this. There is no way you can fail at this because there's no goal. And if you're wondering if you're doing it right, don't answer that question. If that question comes up, am I doing this right? Just don't answer it. And instead, notice your breath. Feel free to breathe with me. We can go together. Maybe like 3 times-ish. It's okay if your breath doesn't match mine. I'm just a guide, so maybe take a big breath in. And let it all go. Okay, inhale. Exhale, 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. One more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. Option to add some arms with this. So if you're laying down, you may need to actually find a seat or even stand for this. If we've got space to reach the arms out, so we might inhale as you lift the arms up. And then exhale as you lower the arms down. And again, we inhale, reach out and up. And exhale, press down. So you keep going. Sometimes I'm gonna just stop the movement so that I can talk to the camera a little bit more easily. But again, you keep going, breathing those breaths. And if you're wondering, if you're having thoughts of like, oh, I wonder if my hand is supposed to be up or down, or my arm is supposed to be straight, or how far should I be going, just don't answer those questions, and instead, take a big breath. And do whatever comes naturally, whatever your arms are doing. It's so perfect. I promise, so perfect. Maybe 2 more. So while we're in our seat, and again, if you're not already, go ahead and find a seat somewhere that's comfortable, or you could stand. Just inviting a little bit of a twist. So I'm gonna twist, this is my left, I think it's your right. Again, tech stuff, I'm not entirely sure, but this way, or just pick a way. You might take one arm across to the opposite knee. I've got this backhand behind me to push down on my chair to help me sit up a little taller. Maybe you stay here, breathe in. Then as you exhale, feel free to twist into this nice and gentle. Option to maybe take the chin with you over your left shoulder. Feel free to stay here. Let's say like 3 breaths-ish. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Good, and then we'll just reverse on that, so taking the other arm across the body, got this back hand down, maybe on a chair or leg of the chair, whatever you've got. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. As you exhale, just spin the chest. Maybe you take the chin over your shoulder as well. Staying here for 3 breaths. We inhale. Exhale, 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Good, and we come back to the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of my chair for now. You can keep it nearby if you want. And then move this over yonder. Okay. Finding child's pose if you want. So maybe you lower down to your knees, point the toes, sit your hips on back, something like this. You could crawl your chest forward and reach your arms forward, or maybe we're reaching the arms back like this. But again, if this maybe like hurts the knees, you just skip it. Go ahead and flip onto your back, lay down, hug your knees into your chest. Same. This is the same thing. So wherever you find yourself, feel free to stay here. Again, noticing your breath. Maybe you start to feel the breath more behind you into your back. So puffing out the backs of the ribs as you breathe. I forgot how many we were gonna do, so I'm just gonna start over. Let's stay here for 3 more-ish breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Crawling up to hands and knees if that's comfortable. Maybe the hands go-ish underneath the shoulders. You can move in any way you'd like here. With cat and cow, we sometimes like to go starting out this way. You look up towards the ceiling and stick your tail out as your belly lowers down. This is our cow, because apparently cows look like this, I don't know. And then cat pose, we're going the other way. Tuck your tail between your legs, chin to your chest, and then drawing your abdominals in might support your lower back. So option to breathe here. We can inhale as you look up for cow. Maybe exhale as you round for cat. Breathing in. And breathing out. So again, you just continue, just keep going on your own. Option to move more fast if you want. It doesn't have to be my tempo. Option to do any other kinds of movements, circles of the spine, figure eights. Option to just skip this whole thing. Take an early Shavasana. And then I'll join you for another option here I like. So we can go inhale for cow. I like to tuck my toes under like this, but you don't have to, it's just an option. So inhale, look up for cow. As you exhale, you point the toes, round the spine, and go all the way back to your child's pose. Maybe we try again. You inhale, lift. Find your hips over your knees, then tuck the toes if that's comfy, looking up. As you exhale, pointing the toes, round it on back. So again, you just keep on going, whatever the version you're doing, whatever version you're doing. And if you're noticing a question, this is a very common question in yoga, and in life, I'm finding today, it's been this constant question in my brain, am I doing this right? So when you notice, if you notice that question happening, just don't answer it, and instead, take a big breath in, and a big breath out. Okay, maybe we find downward dog, so feel free to just stay here if you want, or even child's pose. If down dog is comfortable, or especially if you're new to down dog, I recommend the feet and knees and hips even as wide as the mat. Or wait, not the hips. Hands, yes. Okay, hands, feet, hips. Sorry, I just did it again. Taking downward dog, all of this stuff, tuck the toes. Maybe you stretch the hips up to the ceiling. The knees don't have to be straight, but they might. You can always bring the feet closer together if you want. So again, you just continue, stay as you are. This is another position where it's kind of hard for me to talk, so I'm just gonna sit down for a sec. And feel free to just notice, like, how does this feel in your body right now? Maybe yesterday you did down dog and it was feeling awesome. And today you're doing down dog and it's not feeling so comfortable. So we don't have to do down dog. Today is a new day. Continue doing whatever you're doing. Let's stay for like 2 more breaths. Okay, adding on sort of like our cat and cow that we did before, but this time we bring the shoulders over the wrists for a plank, pausing here with the hips pretty much in line with the rest of the body, and then you can go right back into downward dog if you like. So we might inhale as you roll forward to plank, and then exhale as you lift up. So again, you continue. That's just an option. It's the same idea though as your cat and cow, so feel free to do this version that we did before. We're inhaling and exhaling. We're adjusting the spine. It's all good. There's no one that is better than the other. And do like 3-ish more of those, whatever you're doing. Meet me here in your down dog. It doesn't have to be graceful, just however you can, walk the hands back to the feet. Hang out here, you might keep the feet quite separated. So I've got like way more than 2 fists here. Feel free to relax the back of the neck if that feels good. You can hang out, hands to opposite elbows. I like to take a little shoulder stretch. Whatever. And you stay as you are just for a moment. Notice the feet on the ground. How does that feel? Big breath in. Big breath out. Okay, walking it right back out to where you came from. Finding your plank. Feel free to stay here and just hold for a moment. We might stay for like 8-ish breaths, but you can always lower all the way down whenever you're ready. Option to lower the knees if you'd like. So again, you stay if you want. I'm just gonna talk to the camera a little bit more easily. Tapas, heat in yoga, or discipline. So as we're holding this posture, you might start feeling a little bit of heat building up. And then notice how you react to that. So for me, for example, I notice heat building up and I think, oh my God, when is this going to be over? What can I do to make this end faster? I can't handle this, all those kinds of things. No need to change any of that stuff. Just notice what happens when you're holding your plank and you feel that heat building up. Just notice, don't judge yourself. It's really hard being alive, you know? And as you're ready, lower all the way down to your belly. I'm totally by myself, by the way. So propping up onto Sphinx, yeah, it's just like I'm technically teaching a group class, but I have no idea who's watching, and I'm just talking literally to myself, by myself, so sometimes I will laugh at myself, so just bear with me. If you prop up for Sphinx, it might be comfortable with the elbows underneath the shoulders. If it's not, feel free to go on back down or even do more of a cobra, which we can do in a minute. I'm going to stay here for a while. And then how does it feel, the hands and the elbows on the ground or the mat or whatever? Just notice that. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, free to lower the elbows all the way back down, lower the forehead, etc. For your cobra, you might stack your hands underneath your shoulders. Personally, I like to lift the hands first. So technically this is supposed to be a yoga and Pilates class, so I'm going to bring in some Pilates elements, more like a swan in Pilates. So cobra, first, lift the hands this time. Draw your abdominals in. Then lift the head and chest. And use your hands to press down to lift it just a weensy bit higher. Reaching your chest forward, it might feel like the fingertips are trying to pull backward on the mat. And then you might even lift the hands and hold the spot for just a moment, and lower all the way down. Feel free to go back to your child's pose for a break. Or do that again, or if you want to take like a Vinyasa, flow, chaturanga, upward dog, whatever, then do that. That's great. Or not. And then we'll back into downward dog. And just sort of start this whole process over with fewer holds. So bend the knees a little, walk the hands back to the feet. Inhale, halfway lift. So for this one, I like to bend the knees a little, maybe hands on your shins. And it's like your back is forming a table. Be the table. All right, stay here. Big breath in. Exhale, just hold. Let's try it again, one more time. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold, and we might walk it out to your plank. If you're really into this plank holding thing, cool, feel free. I'm not gonna cue it right now. So as you're ready, just lowering all the way down to your belly. So this time, instead of lifting the hands first, just find that same spot for cobra with the hands down. Inhale, lift your head and chest to that very spot. Exhale, lower all the way back down. Press back first to your child's pose. Maybe. Option, back to downward dog, up to you. Wherever you are, just stay for one breath. Inhale. Exhale. Walking the hands back to the feet. I know it's not particularly traditional for yoga, but again, I'm trying to bring some Pilates into this. This is normally what we do. Hanging out over the legs. Whenever you're ready, inhale, we halfway lift. Exhale, unfold. Walk it out to your plank. You can hold, you could lower chaturanga halfway down if you want. I'm gonna lower all the way down again. Option to take upward dog. Inhale, lift the chest, maybe straighten the arms even. Exhale, feel free to make a pit stop all the way down first, and then even in child's pose, or downward dog if you like. Wherever you're going, meet me there and stay for just one big breath in. And a big breath out. One more time. Walk the hands back to the feet. While we're here for chair pose, I like to do feet about like 2 fists width apart like this. I'll turn to face you so you can see me, but we bend the knees, sink the hips low and back, lift the chest, maybe hands go to prayer. And you can stay, I'm just gonna flip on this position over here so you can see me better. So again, noticing, how does this feel? Quads, my quads are talking. They have a lot to say. They really want to know when this is going to be over. And if you'd like to stand up, you can just stop at any moment. You can stand up, no shame on that. If you're staying in your chair pose, you might just notice, how does my body, or what do I do when confronted with tapas, heat? Whenever you're ready, you can stand on up. Feel free to stay with me just in Tadasana for a while, so I just lower the arms down. I recommend that you take your gaze at a specific point, maybe somewhere in front of you or somewhere low. And just stay here for a minute, breathe, maybe starting to slow down your breathing again. Maybe you notice, again, the feet on the ground. How does it feel? Notice the sensation, all the corners of the feet. Okay, so I'm gonna face this way, you can do wherever is comfortable. Standing half moon, so this is why I don't practice with clothes on, because I have to, this is not even a gimmick. I'm not even doing this to prove a point. This is just real life. I have to adjust all the paints. Okay, standing half moon. I'm gonna go feet together, but you might go feet a little farther apart. Lots and lots of different options here. I'll show you the one that I'm personally really into these days, but we'll start out first, fingertips, these are thumbs, hooked like this. Reach the arms up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in, you might grow a little taller. As you exhale, we're just side bending. So pick a side and bend that way. And as you bend that way, maybe the hips go the other way to counterbalance. You can see my hands are still here, or if you want to take one hand to one wrist here, if that feels good. Either way, on your next inhale, lifting back up to standing, and then we'll just reverse the other side. So switching the crisscross, or grab the opposite wrist, whichever inhale, lift. Exhale and bend to the other side as the hips sink away. As you breathe in, you might stand back up. And exhale, lower the arms, we roll the shoulders out. So option to just do that again, same thing. Lately, I've been doing this thing, I didn't even notice that I was doing it until I noticed that I was doing it. And then I thought I'd show you. So, kind of like a tricep stretch. So you start out kind of in this typical tricep. Actually, no, I'm just gonna stay here for a quick second. This feels good. This is nice. Okay, and then you can see I've got this free hand back here. So then in the front, I have my other hand and I just clasp a hold of that hand. So my hands are together sort of behind here with my ear, but this arm is still in that tricep stretch. And then I just bring it into my side bend. Do take it easy. Inhale, grow tall. And as you exhale, we're lifting this elbow now up to the ceiling, actively pressing your head backward against your arm. Maybe stay for one more breath. And we inhale to stand up and exhale to shake it all out. Other side, whichever version you're doing. If you're coming with me here, I'm just going to take a little pit stop here in this actual hamstring stretch. By hamstring, I mean tricep. And then if you want, we've got this free hand. Take a hold of it somewhere over here where it's easy to grab a hold. And we inhale, lift. Exhale, lifting the elbow to the ceiling. Side bending, pressing the head back into the arm. Attempting to want to lean forward a little. Not wrong, just feels different. So try this way instead, maybe, if you want. On your next inhale, standing right back up. And exhale, letting it all go. Okay, trying out, I don't know, some version of our sun salutation. I'm probably going to change it up quite a bit here in the beginning. Let's start with chair pose. And we'll start with, again, our held chair. So option to keep the feet hip width distance or feet together. And maybe you've been to a yoga class. I feel like this is something that yoga teachers say a lot, like notice how you respond to difficulty, and it's all, you're supposed to have this big, breakthrough of like, oh wow, you learn all this stuff about yourself, and I respond to stress in a bad way or whatever. So I don't even want you to Don't even change any of that. You just notice. How do you feel now in your chair? Exactly as you are. No need to have any big revelations, no need to change anything. Just notice what goes on for you. Maybe you're already standing out of this by now. That's cool. I celebrate that. I'm gonna join you. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale and fold it forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping your left foot back to a low lunge. I'm gonna wiggle this forward a bit. You can lower the back knee down and point the toe. Feel free to stay down here or bring the hands to the thigh. We'll stay here for like 3-ish breaths. Feel free to reach the arms up. You could hook the thumbs like we did before. One more breath in. As you exhale, float the hands back down. So working on this front leg, take it easy, nice and gentle. Don't push the hamstring. Start to stretch the front leg until you feel a tiny, tiny stretch. So if there's a scale of 1 to like 10 of the stretch on the thigh here, we tend to want to go, all right away, 8 for sure. So I would invite, aim for that like 2 or 3. Very, very gentle. I know it might seem very unimpressive and maybe even very boring, but I would invite you to stay in that very unimpressive stretch. Because I think that's important for your muscle. I think it has a job to do there. I think it's got a point when it's like, whoa, you are stretching and I'm clamping up right now. And I like to bend in and out of this too, so you might inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, stretch the front leg. Keep going like this, maybe 3-ish more breaths. Or just stay and hold. And coming back to your low lunge, feel free to tuck this back toe under and straighten the back leg if accessible. And from here, lifting up to your high lunge. I'm lucky I have a wall, so I can hold on to that if you need to move so that you have a wall or a chair to support. Feel free to also bend this back knee a little bit. This way, you can reach your tailbone down a little bit more towards the ground. It might make your lower back more comfortable. Stay here for just a couple more breaths. Arms can go, wherever. Arms are like icing on the cake for me. I have mostly no opinions there. As you exhale, float the hands back down. First, since we haven't done this yet, we can go first back into your downward dog. And then while we're here, you might even lift your right leg up. So you could go straight away from your low lunge to this is your 3-legged dog. Doesn't have to be high. Maybe it's about yay height. You're just reaching behind you. If you want to lift up higher, you can. Higher is not better. It's just higher. And as you're ready, floating forward to your push-up plank, feel free to lower halfway or all the way down, taking this little flow of back bend of choice. So your cobra, your upward dog, meets you in child's pose, maybe down dog, something like that. Right leg lifting again. Inhale. Exhale, bring that foot forward. Doesn't have to be graceful, even if we're taking hold of the knee or the ankle and just like putting it there. While we're down here, go ahead and anchor this back heel all the way down. The toes probably want to turn out on an angle a little bit, so we're toes facing front and these back toes facing to, can you see this? Yes, back toes here. Moving right away to your triangle actually. So I've got a block here, I recommend it. If you don't have a block, option to just put your hand on your own leg for support. Either way, starting to stretch that leg a little bit and then rotate the chest to the left. Lots of things we could do. Arm reaches up, arm behind the back. So many things. Maybe this leg is straight, maybe it's a little bent or even a lot bent. You could be using a hand on a block here. And again, I encourage you to find that very boring, very unimpressive stretch. Like, oh, but if I posted this on Instagram, it would probably get fewer likes because I'm bending my knee. Like that kind of stretch. Go for that if you want. Maybe stay here for 2 more breaths. And as you're ready, floating the hands back down, go ahead and bend into this front knee, and then just hop up onto this back tippy toe, like this. Stretch the front leg just to give it a little break. And then from here, a little momentum to push forward, standing at the top of your mat. Hanging out here. I clearly have some space issues here, so this is part of practicing at home. Let's roll up. Let's roll up so that we don't knock our head on things. So soften the knees, one bone at a time. Roll up to standing, and don't knock over stuff. One bone at a time. Good. Stay here at the top. You can stay. I'm just moving here to the middle. Bring your heels together and your toes just like a little tiny bit apart, maybe 3 fingers width. And just keeping the heels together, you might just like hover the heels just a little bit off of the ground. If you want, you can lift them even more. It helps to keep them glued together. If it's more comfortable for you to bring your feet kind of more parallel instead, that's okay. I just find it easier to really hug my heels in. And you might think about trying to keep your head where it is. It's not like actually literally possible, but imagine that you could keep your head right here, but just lower your heels down. So your spine is elongating as you lower. Okay, good. Other side. I'm gonna step back here to the top. Chair pose again. If you want, you sit in chair. However long you want. Maybe it's just 1 breath. Maybe it's 10. Just explore. I like to also explore cat and cow spine pretty much everywhere, but if I'm in my chair pose, sometimes I find this to be uncomfortable. It's more like a cow spine. If we go the total opposite direction for cat, maybe it doesn't also feel particularly good. So if we go in somewhere in the middle, find this. I find this more comfortable. Cat and cow can be good diagnostic tools. Whenever you're ready, inhale, stand up, reach up. As you exhale, folding back forward to any amount. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, stepping your right foot back. This time, once we get down here, lower the back knee down. Feel free to point the back foot. Keeping the hands down, hands to this thing or here. Stay here for like 3 breaths, and you can stay. I'm just realizing that I have to turn this whole party around, or else this triangle is gonna be difficult for me to teach. So here I am. 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. Hands could go down, maybe even blocks. I forgot to mention this before, so maybe you're using blocks too. Totally great. And again, that very 1 to 10, aim for like a 3. Gentle, 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 gentle stretch. And then you might hold. Option to just hold, stay there, or you can go forward. Inhale. And then exhale, stretch back into it. What would it be like for you to, again, find that super unimpressive, gentle, gentle stretch? I know we really often want to go to that 8. But like, why? Why do we do that? Because based on my research, I don't actually think it's really like optimal for the muscles anyway. So why are we doing that? It's probably capitalism. Most problems are capitalism. One more breath in here. Exhale. Okay. Bending back into the front knee. Tuck these back toes under and stretch the back leg. So we're going back to your 3-legged dog. You could go straight back to it. Either way, I'll meet you in some version of this, stretching this left leg back. Try not to knock stuff over. You might lift up. Maybe you explore a little movement here. Anything that is interesting, anything that is comfortable. But if you're going for impressive, notice that, maybe. One more inhale, you reach. As you exhale, bring the foot back forward. Put the back heel down in some configuration. Back toes are kind of on a bit of an angle to keep that there. And then again, you've got your block, maybe, or you're using your front leg. Start to twist your chest to the right. This leg might straighten all the way, might not. Arm could reach or something. You might notice that I like to move a lot. So I don't really stay very still very frequently. I tend to sort of like bend in and out of things and sort of like turn my head a lot. And if that feels good to you, great, you might do that too. You don't have to though. Let's stay for 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. Soften the front knee, lowering the hands back down. We lift back up onto the tippy toes. Stretch the front leg just to give it a little bit of a break. Watch your head, friends. Got my wall. I see you. As a matter of fact, scoot on back. Propel yourself back to the top of your mat. Hanging out in your forward fold. Soften the knees and draw your abdominals in for support as you roll up to standing. 1 bone at a time. Good. I'm gonna go back here to this side, which will make more sense. So another little flow I wanted to invite is if we cross the right foot over the left. And some people do it like this. I prefer more of like a thigh cross, so that might even mean that one foot is quite a bit farther forward, and that's okay. If you need, we might have blocks here for support. I've got this handy desk. So as you're ready, just climb it on down there to any amount. I feel a big stretch maybe on the outer leg, but that's not the correct way to feel this. So you just notice, like, what do you feel when you're in this? Do we even like this? Do we want to be skipping this? Do we even want to be taking this class? And those are questions that are really important because you don't have to do this posture. But if you have questions like, am I doing this right? I advise you not to answer that and instead just take a big breath in and a big breath out. Helps to bend this knee. And just so you don't get all twisted up like spaghetti here, stand the left foot back first. And then this front foot back. And I'm realizing we didn't take a flow on the other side, so I'm just going to do it now to make up for it. Bending to lower half or all the way down. Inhale to your back bend of choice. Exhale, down dog or child's pose or something. Walking the feet up to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, and fold. A twisted chair maybe this time. So you can stay, I'm just going to turn to face this way. With the feet apart, I recommend elbow on the inside of the knee. I'm going to do right on right. If the feet are together, maybe on the outer knee like this is easier. Hands to prayer and twist the spine. Staying here for 3 breaths. Inhale. Any other variations, flyaways, wraps, do your thing. Breathing in. Breathing out. As you unwind, lift up to standing, and then just stand there. You can face this way. Feel free to just stand in Tadasana. You might notice you're breathing. Mine's a little fast right now. I'm going to try to slow it down by taking some fuller breaths. And again, I invite you to notice the feet. Notice how they feel on the ground. Great. For the other side, I'm gonna go in this direction. So we did right foot, right? It's crossing the left foot now in front. Again, I go for more of a thigh cross, even if the foot is very far in front of the other. You might be using your blocks over here now. Okay, and as you're ready, oh, look, I've got a wall too. I love walls. Walls are the most amazing things, because then you can just like use them to like crawl down things or hold yourself up or balance or whatever. Either way. Notice, what do you feel? Where in your body? It's okay to not really notice much of anything as well. Or nothing at all. Let's take one breath together here. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, bending the knees to put the hands down. I recommend right foot back. You could try the other foot back. It'll just get a little twisted. And I'd be interested to see what you come up with there. Taking another little flow here. Exhale, lower half or all the way down. We inhale for a back bend of choice. Exhale for your something or other. I'm gonna go into down dog. Walking the feet now up to the hands. And as you land, again, separating the feet either hip width or maybe all the way together. If they're apart, just to review, if they're apart, I like to go elbow on the inside of the knee. I'm going to the right this time. If your feet are together, sometimes easier to go to the outer knee. Either way, I'm gonna demonstrate this version. Hands might go to prayer. As you twist, stay here for 3 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. And you can stay for one more breath. I'm gonna stand up because I'm done with this one. Inhale. Exhale. From your chair, inhale back, standing up if you're not already. And again, just stand there. Notice the breath. It's a little fast. That's okay. Maybe you start to slow it down a little. Great. Okay, I'm gonna have a seat, so feel free to sit all the way down. Sometimes this is more comfortable if you have some props like, especially if you're particularly tight in the hamstrings today, I'm gonna go with this is the perch, so blocks on the low setting. I've got a strap over here that I can show you, but if you don't have a strap, we can also just use like a pair of leggings or something like that. So as you sit down in front of you for your Paschimottanasana, feel free to make use of the strap and wrap it around your feet. It's okay if the knees bend like this, that's okay. And just importantly here, if the lower back starts to round backwards, again, not wrong, but it might hurt back there. That might hurt. So that's where you can start to bend the knees, lift up a little taller, and we've got the straps here to help us. So again, this is not about how much of a stretch, how big or intense this is, but are you comfortable? Is it sustainable? Oh my goodness, is it sustainable? That is so much more of an interesting question than am I doing this right? Is this sustainable? I'm gonna remember that tomorrow. So stay whatever you're doing. I recommend that you take your eyeballs to just a soft gaze on the toes or something. Let's stay for 5 breaths. I'll cue a few in case somebody enjoys the cued breath, but you can also breathe at your own tempo. Inhale. Exhale 1. Of course, I forgot to mention, if you don't want to use a strap, you can always move off of the blocks and take hold of the feet. Either way, we inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. breathing out. Okay, lifting back up to seated. Feel free to stay on the blocks or not. I personally do use the blocks for butterfly. I'm gonna turn to the side because this is probably easier to see. So with the bottoms of feet together, again, I'm sitting here on a block. Knees might open to the side. Some of you will crawl forward with the hands on the ground. I like to take my hands to the ankles and just gently lean a little bit. I'll stay here for another 3, maybe, breaths. I'll cue some, but you don't have to follow me. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And as you're ready, lifting back up, you might use the hands to bring the knees together. And then I promised one of my clients that I would teach boat pose using red light, green light, which is this, I guess, kids game that I remember playing in gym in like the 5th grade, where you like run across the floor and someone says red light and then you freeze. And I think you like, I don't know, you get out of the game if you like move or whatever. There's none of that here, but then it says green light and you do the thing. So the version that he was requesting is pretty challenging. So I'm gonna show you 3 different versions of this. So number 1 here for boat pose. Well, first of all, let's just figure out what the hell is Navasana. Well, I'll show you. If you sit up, bend the knees, feet down, we can start with the hands underneath the knee creases and just pick up the feet, hold. Maybe the legs start to straighten. Sometimes the arms let go, some variation of this. Okay, so that's our boat pose, and then just go ahead and have a little break. So again, option 1, red light, green light. Take this with a very, very, very small grain of salt. Feel free to just hold your boat pose or do any other variation. This is just, I want to just bring some like play and fun into this, which I guess if we're doing it with boat pose, maybe it's not actually all that fun because it's boat pose and that's kind of challenging. But yeah, I don't know, something to try. I do kind of find it fun for some reason. So again, first option, we go to boat pose and then we put the feet back down. So we might be starting here, lean back a little, lift up the feet, red light. Green light is feet just down, just rest. Red light. Green light, feet down, just rest. Okay, so option number 2, so many options. We may be holding the pose and just chesting our balance. So you can lean back a little, lift the feet. Red light. Green light. Or maybe land, either way. We red light. Green light. Okay, and then there's this other way to do it that I'll show you. So feel free to just keep going, options 1 or 2. Number 3 here is lowering all the way to the ground. And either way, we'll end up laying down on the ground anyway, so however you get there, doesn't matter. And I just wanna really just drill in here that this version of red light, green light, Navasana is not better than the other 2. These are just different things we do with our body, and the meaning we associate with them is kind of arbitrary. So, make sure you got room. When you lower down, another thing, when you lower down, I recommend that you tuck the tail under to get the lower back down first, and then I'll cue you from there. So we lean back into your boat pose. This is a red light we're holding, and then a green light, we start to lower. Red light, we hold. Green light, we start to lower. It's harder teaching this and doing it, so hold, red light. Green light, I'm starting to roll my lower back down. Hold, red light. Green light, start to lower. Got my shoulder blades down, red light. Green light, lower a tiny bit more, red light. And green light, lower all the way back down. Okay, I had fun. Bend your knees, feet down. Rock the knees side to side. what should we do here? I want to actually finish seated in this meditation that I've been working on. So we'll just spend a little bit of time down here onto the ground. So if you've got a ponytail in the way, just adjusting that. Option for bridge pose is very important, is that so when your hips lift up to the ceiling, you're looking to the ceiling as well. And when they're down, then you can look at me. Feel free to take a watch first. So for your bridge pose, as your arms press down next to your body, your hips might lift. They might lift just a little. It might lift a little more, any amount here. Some folks like to tuck the shoulder blades underneath the back, even clasping the hands, lifting onto tippy toes, whatever you want to try here. You can come down whenever you're ready. Taking a few breaths, I'll cue 3, inhale. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. As you exhale, roll it back down. Good, and then we'll just do that again. Some of you might be into wheel. If you've never done wheel, don't do it because I'm not going to teach it, but if a wheel is already part of your practice, cool. I'm just going to do again, same thing, just another bridge, face to the ceiling. We lift the hips to any amount. And stay for however many breaths you want. I'm going to count 4 of them. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Maybe one more. Using your exhale, untuck the shoulders. If you're coming from wheel, make sure to tuck your chin to your chest before you roll down. Lowering the pelvis all the way back down. And from here, just hug your right knee into your chest with the bottom leg straight or bent, up to you. And then go back to this bent knee, especially if the hamstrings are feeling a little tight. We could go hands underneath the knee crease and stretch the leg up to the ceiling and just hold here. It could be bent. This is another opportunity for the strap if you have one. So we've got foot on the strap like this. You might just be holding here. This leg might be straight, whatever feels comfy for you. And again, gentle, gentle. Maybe aiming for like 4 or 5, maybe, because we've been moving a lot and maybe there's a little bit more room, but see what would happen if you just didn't push it. If you didn't go to your absolute extreme. I'm going to take this into a half happy baby, so if you're using the straps, grab a hold a little bit higher, bend the elbow, or rather, well, both, bend everything, bend the knee so that the heel still kicks up to the ceiling, got kind of like a right angle, and this knee is going to the outer shoulder. It's okay if this knee wants to bend to stay here for like 3 breaths or something. If you don't need the strap, we just take a hold of the foot. While we're here, just to get set up for our next thing, go ahead and bend this left knee, put the foot down, and then we can guide this foot, cross it over, and either press this thigh weight from you, option to also hug this knee into your chest, and stay for 3, maybe 4 or 5, whichever. I'll cue a few. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Okay, and from here I'll lower the feet back down and we switch. So just start with hugging this left knee and maybe you straighten the leg. You can stay here for a little while if you want. I recommend starting with this knee bent, hands behind the knee crease as you stretch. But then of course, as you feel a little more comfortable, you might climb up higher or straighten this leg. Maybe we're using a strap. Stay here for like 3-ish, 4-ish breaths. We might think like, what does that say about us if we could go to an 8, but instead we chose a 4 out of 10 for this stretch? What would that say about us? Holding my breath. And then I'm moving this again to half happy baby. Just take a little bit higher up with the strap, or even use the strap. Not use the strap. The other knee could be somewhere where it's comfortable. I recommend this sort of right angle shape, but whatever's comfortable. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then while we're here, just moving this knee so its bent foot is down, we can guide this foot. Here you go. Here you go, friend. Right there for you. Right on the other knee. Either stay and press the thigh away. Maybe you hug this shape in. Some configuration. Breathing in. Breathing out. 3 more. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. And we lower maybe the feet back down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll over onto my side to come up to seated. If there's anything else you want to do that's part of your practice, so if you want to do something again, repeat a stretch, if you're into shoulder stands, inversions, etc., feel free. I'm gonna encourage an off-camera shavasana. I want to actually leave you with a meditation. So again, a little untraditional, and I'm actually even gonna come a little closer to the camera and just sit down in this comfy chair. So again, we'll sit here for like 5 minutes-ish. And then, if you want, option to lay down on your back for your shavasana. But I recommend, just for today anyway, feel free to do that when I'm away. Sometimes it's nice after practicing to have a moment to yourself where I'm not just blabbing away, and recenter. Okay. This is where I'm going to rely on YouTube captions to translate this, because I'm not going to be able to sign this. So I call this my Greenpeace meditation. I've been building it with some folks. I wanted to share it with you. I'm still building, I'm still thinking about it. It's based off of a psychologist that I really admire named Michael Greenberg. I sort of am bringing in some of his techniques, but it's still just my adaptation. So feel free to like close your eyes if you want, unless they need to be open to watch captions, or take the gaze down low at an angle. Just sit in some way that you're comfortable and relaxed. Okay, now I don't mean to pick on Greenpeace, but it's just the first thing that I think of when I try to think of the folks on the street who try to get you to sign up for things. So that's all I'm saying. Environmental rights, super important. And if you work for Greenpeace, like, I know that's a hard job, so no shade. But that's what I'm thinking of. Just someone on the street stopping you, want to sign up for this newsletter or donate or something like that. So, you might imagine that you're taking a little walk. For me, it's always down Broadway between 74th and 72nd. And if you've been in New York City, maybe you know what I mean. There's that Trader Joe's sign, or there's the Trader Joe's out in the corner, and there's the little, subway pavilion. But maybe you're just taking a walk somewhere else, wherever you live. There could also be a Trader Joe's in your periphery, and this might sound weird, but I actually do encourage you to put something out in front of you. I'm just going to encourage it, be a Trader Joe's sign, but it could be something else. And of course, if none of this serves you, or if you don't particularly want to stay here with me for this, that's also really great, and you can just sit here and breathe or turn the camera off. But So you might imagine that as you're walking down the street, it's like a Sunday or whatever day off you have, and you've got nothing to do, like nothing to do. You're not in a rush. And as you're walking down the street, you see the Greenpeace people, or whoever. I'm just gonna call them that, but again. Comes up to you and they have all these questions for you. Hey, do you want to sign up for this newsletter? Would you like to give some money? Do you have a moment to talk about X, Y, or Z type things? And don't do this in real life. So again, this is just a thought experiment. But for the sake of this thought experiment, I would invite you to just imagine that you don't owe a response and to actually not respond. So they come up to you, they have all these questions, and kind of like I was saying before, I invite you to just not respond. Might feel a little weird, and again, maybe not actually socially acceptable. You don't even have to smile or nod or whatever. And then just like whenever you decide not to respond, notice something else and walk over there. So the metaphor here, in case you haven't picked this up, is that our thoughts, our feelings, with the activity in our minds are the Greenpeace people. And, in our minds, these folks have all kinds of questions beyond, newsletters and donations and stuff. They want to know, they want to ask us questions anywhere from like, what did you eat for dinner last night, to are you a good person, to are you doing this right, to, like all of the questions. And some of them are a little lighter than others, but just for this like few minutes, I invite you to not engage, not respond. You don't have to say anything back. You don't have to answer. And then, there's a tree over there, so you walk around. Very importantly here, when you see, and this is where the Trader Joe's sign does come into play here, when you see the Trader Joe's sign in the head of you, it's not about focusing on that. So it's not like, oh my God, blinders on, do not talk to these people, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna look ahead, focus on the sign, and walk straight there. It's not that. Maybe eventually you'll end up at Trader Joe's, you can see it, but you're not in any rush. So when your thoughts come up to you and they have all these questions, they want you to figure stuff out, you can look at them, you can look right at them in the eye. They have questions, okay? But then I invite you to just not respond. You don't have to answer any of those questions if you don't want to. And then eventually you get distracted by something else over here. Walking over this way. Maybe another thought comes in. Did you prepare for this deadline at work? Blah, blah, blah. If it helps to think about, if these are actually quite stressful, if it helps, you can totally figure this stuff out later. But I would invite you to just allow yourself these few minutes to just not respond. What would it be like to just not answer any of those questions? And just look at them right in the eye, and you see them, and you're like, oh, that thought has some really interesting hair, or this thought over here reminds me of my cousin or something. And you notice them, you see them. Don't engage. And then just building off of this a little, I actually go pretty far into this when I'm really having time, which I don't now anymore, but just to add on one little thing. So listen, sometimes we are gonna sign up for those newsletters. Sometimes we are, we're halfway to giving our credit card for the donation before we even realize that we are engaging with the thought, And that's okay. That's like what our brains do. So you don't have to be mean to yourself, but when you notice that, just put the pen down. You don't have to say thank you, just put the pen down and look at something else, like literally anything else. not running away. We're just putting the pen down. It's the difference between gripping something and letting go of the grip. It's not about throwing that thing somewhere else. Just let go of the grip. Okay, feel free to let that go whenever you'd like. Feel free to take a collective breath with me together. Inhale. And let it all go. All right, hope that last meditation wasn't too strange to follow. I'll probably try to keep building on that. And I would this time invite you to just for like maybe like 2 minutes, 1 minute, to just lay down on your back on your mat, or keep sitting on your chair, or lay on the couch or something like that. Take your Shavasana, which just means you're just like hanging out, laying down, relaxed on the floor, or just have a seat. And then whenever you're done with that, just ease your body out of it and go about the rest of your day. I'm gonna close the camera off so that I can so I can remove myself from your practice. But before I go, just thank you so much for taking this class, for joining me, and for being a supporter or follower of Naked Emotion, and for being a human being. You're doing a great job at being a human being. Okay. Goodbye.